Hello, everyone, and welcome back. What a wonderful start to the morning. I would now like to introduce our self-advocate keynote speaker, Kayla McKeon, who will be presenting the Kayla McKeon story, My Journey to Becoming an Advocate. Kayla McKeon is the manager of grassroots advocacy for the National Down Syndrome Society, NDSS, where she works to advance legislation beneficial to the Down syndrome community. Kayla gained experience working with members of Congress as an intern for Congressman John Katko of New York. She was named NDSS Self-Advocate of the Year in 2016 and joined the NDSS staff the following year. As the first registered lobbyist with Down syndrome, Kayla is a spokesperson for NDSS and the Down syndrome community, participating in media and speaking publicly both nationally and internationally. Kayla has an associate's degree in general studies from Onondaga Community College. Kayla resides in Syracuse, New York. She is a Special Olympics athlete and former Special Olympics athlete Congress member. In 2011, she competed in the Special Olympics World Games in Athens, Greece, winning silver and bronze medals. In 2022, she competed in the Special Olympics USA Games in Orlando, Florida, winning gold and bronze medals. Kayla is active in her church, is an avid reader, and loves swimming in her pool when the weather is warm. Welcome, Kayla, and thank you so much for being here with us. And I'm now going to turn it over to Kayla to go over her presentation.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And good morning, UCLA Tarjan Center. And happy Friday the 13th. And how is everyone doing today? I am so excited to meet all of you virtually for the forum on neurodevelopmental disabilities. As you know, my name is Kayla McKeon, and I am the manager of grassroots advocacy at the National Down Syndrome Society. I am also known as the first registered lobbyist with Down syndrome. And this is something I am very proud of. Today, I'm going to be sharing with you what some people call the Kayla McKeon story, which is a story of my journey to becoming the first registered lobbyist with Down syndrome. To me, it is the story of my life, and I hope you like it. And I learned how to use my voice to speak up for myself and other people with disabilities. Next, we'll go to the what is Down syndrome? Oh, look at that. I was born with Down syndrome in Syracuse, New York, home of the orange. You may be asking yourself, what does that mean? In every cell in the human body, there is a nucleus where genetic material is stored in genes. These genes carry the codes responsible for all of our inherited traits and are grouped along rod-like structures called chromosomes. Typically, the nucleus of each cell contains 23 pairs of chromosomes, half of which are inherited from each parent. Down syndrome occurs when an individual has a full or partial extra copy of chromosome 21. This additional genetic material alters the course of development and the characteristics associated with Down syndrome. The few of the common physical traits of Down syndrome are low muscle tone, I find mine in my fingertips, a small statue, an upper slant to the eyes, and a single deep crease in the center of the palm. Although each person with Down syndrome is a unique individual, some may possess some of these characteristics to different degrees, or some not at all. So next, let's go to my early years, please. Oh, look at that. When I was young, it did take me some time to find my voice. I always loved reading, and I still do. So I've been reading at age 4. And to this day, I can read a book a week. Surprising, huh? Some of my favorites as a kid included the Babysitters Club and the Boxcar Children's series, and some Harry Potter too. I loved reading about the mystery and adventures the characteristics had. And I think reading about these adventures made me realize that I want to have an adventurous life too. So, Nick, let's slide into my school years, please. Thank you. When I was 18 months old, my parents enrolled me in an early education program at Main Street School, and I progressed through school alongside my classmates, and I graduated at age 18. And as soon as inclusive education became possible, I was always in an inclusive setting. I won't deny that there were some bumps and stumbling blocks along the way, but my parents always thought it was best for me to be included and reach for my highest potential. And there was times when they pushed me, but I always know and knew that I could succeed. Some of the hardest years were the ones that my teachers did not believe in me. The years and support staff encouraged me and believed in me were the years that I grew the most. I began in elementary school with a positive experience in first grade, and thanks to my incredible teacher, Miss Neela Brown. Our classroom has stations that allow students to rotate through various subjects and activities, and this learning style definitely keeps me engaged and keeping me from sitting in one place all day long. It was definitely better for me. Second grade, however, was not nearly as positive of an experience. I started hiding and running away. I'm probably guessing I know what you're thinking. Oh, so I never do that, right? Well, I did, and it did result in me being assigned a teacher's aide onto myself. Again, movement throughout the school day was brought back into my schedule again. So in seventh grade, we began to change classes. But I won't say transitioning from class to class didn't take a while for me to learn. But with the help of a one-on-one aide, I can say this for sure. I became much more independent. One thing was really clear through my time in elementary and middle schools. I was able to excel. My teachers and family and friends had high expectations of me and provided me with support and resources I needed to be successful. Education has the power to transform lives. I think this is why it is so amazing that UCLA has brought us all together today. When we can take the time to learn from one another, we are all better for it. So let's talk about Special Olympics, Nick. That one, thank you. When I was 13 years old, I got involved with Special Olympics. Special Olympics engages individuals with disabilities in sports, health, and inclusive programs. And ever since I was involved, Special Olympics has been a big part of my life. And still, I still play many sports each season. Special Olympics has been really good for my coordination and strength. And remember, some people with Down syndrome naturally have low muscle tone. So this kind of physical activity helps us to stay strong and healthy. Special Olympics has always been a social outlet for me to meet friends with and without disabilities. I have made some of my very best friends lifelong friends from Special Olympics. And yes, I even met someone someone special. Trust me, we'll go to more into that a little bit later. But it was through Special Olympics that I had the opportunity to do my first public speaking. I was asked by my local Special Olympics chapter to share some remarks about my involvement with Special Olympics. I remember I was not nervous at all before I spoke. I was thinking, does anybody want to hear my story? Me? Wow. But it turns out people really did want to hear my story. And wow, I found out I really loved public speaking and making my voice be heard. And I will continue to speak on behalf of Special Olympics as a countless member and ambassador for them. And of course, I am still competing. I have a competition next week in Glens Falls. But actually, I traveled to Athens, Greece as a World Game athlete in 2011. And I competed last June in the USA Games in Orlando, Florida. Pretty cool, right? But if you thought that was cool, and you can actually see it on your screen, then you just see my gold medal from the USA Games that I won. So there's a picture on the right of your screen. There's a picture of me that was posted by ESPN, and I won my gold medal. And I'm really proud of this accomplishment, but also very proud to have the opportunity to represent the capabilities of people with disabilities on such a public media platform, which was huge because this post had over 40,000. That's right, 40,000 likes on Instagram alone. So next, let's talk about my school years, please. Thank you. Now let's keep it going. When I was in high school, I earned awards for character, commitment, and courage, as well as English and math. My final grade for algebra was in the 90s, believe it or not. And I got a 93 on my statewide math research exam. If anyone is listening from New York, and I hope you do, I hope you are, you know how tough that was. After graduating high school, alongside my peers, I began attending Onondaga Community College. And at first, I was just taking some non-credit courses in many different areas that I was interested in. But I did start thinking to myself that this doesn't make any sense, that I'm doing all this great work without earning any credits. So I began taking classes per semester for credit, one class per semester for credit, excuse me. And I can happily say, after a very long, 12 long years, I finally received my associate's degree in general studies, cum laude, last May. And I graduated with my peers, and I think you can tell I'm extremely excited. But not just graduating college is one of my proudest accomplishments. It was hard at times, but I knew it was worth it. Honestly, I did not care how long it took me to finish, because I am very committed. I was committed to accomplishing my goals. And I hope one day my college experience is a testament to other people who may have been told they cannot accomplish their goals. But it might take you longer, or it could look different for you than it does for other people. But you are capable of what you put your mind to, and I look forward to seeing that. So Nick, let's talk about some public speaking, shall we? Thank you. I started really ramping up my public speaking a couple of years ago, because I saw this as an opportunity to educate people on what it is like to have Down syndrome, and of course, spread awareness about what we are capable of. I started educating others by going into elementary schools, middle schools, colleges, and my personal favorite, the schools of nursing and medicine. When speaking to elementary and middle school students, I try to motivate them to do the best that they can do and be kind and understanding to those around them. My message to kids is that being different is not a bad thing. It's actually a great thing. When I visit schools, I speak about education, employment, and my accomplishments, and my self-advocacy, and now legislation that affects all of us who have a disability. I have a passion for speaking and motivating others to try their best and never give up. When speaking at colleges, I speak to many future teachers and share my experiences in school with them and insight into how I learn best. And I tell teachers who have high expectations for you students and make sure they have the tools they need to succeed. Like I said, I love speaking to the schools of nursing and medicine. I talk to them about Down syndrome and how they should treat new parents. I tell them absolutely to congratulate them. That Down syndrome is not a sick diagnosis. I tell them that we are living proof of much more of what is expected of us and what we are capable of doing. I tell them about my friends who own businesses. They are thriving, like John Cronin and John's Crazy Stocks, or like Pyron, who owns Blake's Snow Shack in Singo, Texas, or Kelly Bergeron, who has a third-degree black belt in karate. Watch out. I tell them about the girl who got a dream job at Target. I could go on and on. Trust me, I won't. But I could. But we are exceeding expectations every day. I am also asked to speak to parent and caregiver groups frequently. This is always interesting for me, even though because I am not a parent myself. But I have two amazing parents, absolutely, which make me into the woman that I am today. When I speak to parents, I share a lot of the same stories that I have just mentioned. Now I want parents to understand that their children are capable of extraordinary things. But I also want them to love their children for who they are. And I couldn't be proud of my parents. Whoever that is. My message to parents is please don't limit your children. So next, let's go into my work experiences, please. Thank you. So throughout my time in school, yes, working has always been a top priority of mine. Before I started working for the National Down Syndrome Society, put the picture on the left side of your screen, I did have a couple of jobs. I used to work at the Syracuse Post-Standard, the Human Resource Department. I would assist in the archive section and assisted with setting up events. I had a lot of fun in that area. And I even had my own byline in the newspaper. I also had a job at Paparazzi Salon and Day Spa, where I would help at the front desk greeting customers as I walked in. And sometimes I would assist in cleaning up. But honestly, my favorite part was interacting with the customers. As you can tell, I'm very much a people person. So the front desk is where you'll find me mostly. And I worked there for 14 years, believe it or not. And my mentor Rachel provided me support. And I was working at the salon. And I really did benefited from Rachel. But she provided me with clear instructions and the checklist and support when I needed it. So next, let's talk about some advocacy, shall we? Thank you. Several years ago, I became involved with the National Down Syndrome Society as a volunteer while I was still working at the hair salon. In 2016, I was named the Self-Advocate of the Year. In the meantime, I'm back in Syracuse. I'm a young Kako who's running for the U.S. House of Representatives. Again, that picture is on the left side of your screen. So he handed me his business card. So I handed him mine. And he called me and said, if he was elected, for me to come and work for him. Well, he won, and I became an intern in his Syracuse office. I represented him at different events and did a various office work. Was a valued member of the congressman's team, and I really did feel a lot of pride in to serve the fellow constituents in my role, and I learned a lot about the inner workings of Congress. And this is where I began to develop a huge passion for policy and advocacy work. I brought a unique perspective with me and how policy work impacted people with disabilities. In June of 2017, Congressman Kako asked me to go with him for a disability conference in Washington, D.C. But I didn't realize at that time it was with the National Down Syndrome Society. I was there at the end of the meeting. The NDSS has offered me my job of manager of grassroots advocacy, and I started in October of 2017. Next, let's talk about some of our mission and vision, please. Thank you. I believe in advocating for ourselves. And this is one of the many reasons why I am so passionate about my work with NDSS. NDSS empowers individuals with Down syndrome and their families by driving policy change and providing resources, engaging in local communities, and shifting public perceptions. We envision a world in which all individuals with Down syndrome are assured their human rights and valued by a more inclusive society. And NDSS, Down syndrome community is the heart of everything we do. It is so important that our voices are heard. I hope one day we'll be out of a job. That will mean that individuals with Down syndrome are finally treated equally, that we are treated with respect, and that we have equal rights. It will mean that my job is not news. We're not being news when we get married, graduate from college, have a car, and find meaningful employment receiving equal wages. These are normal life goals. We all want the American dream. We are more alike than different. And I love being a self-advocate and sharing my voice. And remember, nothing worth doing is easy, and nothing is beyond our reach. We all work together. So, Nick, let's go to the first registered lobbyist slide, please. Thank you. People sometimes ask me, what does it mean to be a registered lobbyist? Just to let you know, I am the good kind of lobbyist. Trust me. But let me tell you. But first, I want to explain what exactly I do as a manager of grassroots advocacy as a lobbyist. As a manager of grassroots advocacy, I want to advance legislation that's beneficial to the Down syndrome community. And I do this by educating myself on issues that our community is facing and how policy can support us into reaching our fullest potential. I work alongside a dedicated policy team at NDSF, and not just because the Nick is right here either, where we advocate for policy at the federal, state, and local levels that benefit people with Down syndrome and other disabilities. I create relationships with members of Congress and other elected officials so that they can see the people behind the policy. Right, Nick? But Nick doesn't have to answer that. He can just go on to the next slide, please.
That's right, though, Kayla. You got that right.
Thank you. Thank you. So anytime I'm engaging with an elected official, this is called lobbying. The United States government has strict rules on lobbying to make sure that it's fair and ethical. One of these rules is that people who spend a lot of time at work lobbying have to register as a lobbyist and track what they are lobbying on and who are we meeting with. I spend so much of my time working on policy and advocating for members of Congress that I became eligible to register as a lobbyist. And I am proud to be the first registered lobbyist with Down syndrome. And I am so proud to work for the National Down Syndrome Society, who happens to have employed the second and third registered lobbyist with Down syndrome too. And I'm proud to call them my friends. Our voices need to be heard by our elected officials. And I am absolutely proud to making my voice be heard loud and clear on a national level. So those are some of the issues that I care about, Nick. Thank you. You're good at this. So lobbying on a federal policy issue is something I'm really good at. So while I'm here, I just thought I would share a couple of issues that I really care about. Down syndrome doesn't stop us. It never stops us. There's some old and antiquated laws that hold us back. One example is the 80-year-old provision within the Fair Labor and Standards Act, known as Section 14C. This outdated law allows employers to get a special wage certificate from the Department of Labor to pay workers with disabilities less than federal or state minimum wage. Some people working under this special wage certificate on pennies per hour. That's right. Individuals with Down syndrome are getting paid cents an hour, while other individuals performing the same task are paid at least minimum wage. I have been working tirelessly any job at minimum wage. The bill known as Transformation to Competitive and Integrated Employment Act. Another topic I am passionate about is ending discrimination based on disabilities in Oregon's transplant process. People with Down syndrome and other disabilities still face discrimination when trying to access life-saving care. The Charlotte Woodward, Oregon Transplant Discrimination Prevention Act is named after my friend and fellow colleague. This prohibits discrimination based solely on an individual's disability when they are in need of an organ transplant. I'm also very passionate about people with disabilities' right to work and earn and save their money and marry who they please if they choose to marry. Unfortunately, in order to remain eligible for a Social Security income and oftentimes Medicaid, an individual with a disability cannot have more than $2,000 in savings or assets. Yes, this does make it really hard to save for my future or to live more independently than I do now. Additionally, if two individuals that are SSI eligible to choose to get married, the combined allowed savings or assets is only $3,000, which is less than what they would have been allowed if they were unmarried. This is what we call the marriage penalty. And eliminating the marriage penalty is very important to me personally, because I really do dream to be married one day. And so if you know what I mean, I'm just halfway there too. I'm just waiting on the ring, if you know what I mean. But there is a bill called the SSI Savings Penalty Elimination Act, which will increase the asset limitations and, yes, eliminate the marriage penalty. I've been very hard at work allocating this bill, and now you know why. But the last issue I want to share with you today is a little bit more sensitive, but I think it is so important that many people, as possible, are aware of it. Individuals with Down syndrome, they are at a higher risk for developing Alzheimer's disease due to a genetic link between the disease and, yes, the 21st chromosome, of which people with Down syndrome have an extra copy. Therefore, it is really crucial that Down syndrome community is included in all federal programs and initiatives aimed at addressing Alzheimer's disease. I know this is hard to take in, and I apologize for that. But I feel that this is an important issue for everyone, as our country as a whole continues to age. We all want to age healthily and do everything that we can to better understand and find a cure for this disease. And our elected officials play a role in making this happen. I talk to elected officials about this issue frequently, and I really do try my best to educate them on the importance of ensuring that Down syndrome and the broader disability community is kept front of mind on these crucial efforts. So next, let's go ahead and talk about some of our take actions. If you'd like to join me in my fight for equal rights, I am going to encourage you to sign up to receive our action alerts on our NDSS website. Signing up for these action alerts will alert you via email when legislation that affects the differently abled community. They need your support. From there, you can easily contact your elected official and advocate for these priorities alongside our community. So next, let's go into very exciting news. Yes, this one, thank you. So throughout my work, I have gotten this esteemed opportunity to advocate for the Down syndrome community in so many ways, and not just policy work. This past year, I had the opportunity and the honor to help with the launch of the first ever Barbie with Down syndrome. We participated in meetings with the Barbie team, which is Mattel, was so receptive to not just mine, but to all feedback as well. I helped with the prototype design and other conversations about the characteristics of the doll. My colleague Charlotte also helped. It was important to have people with Down syndrome support. I had to say, working with Barbie was not just amazing, but a thrill. We participated in meetings. The team was so receptive, not just with my, okay, I apologize, I'm repeating myself. But I am so excited to see the new addition to the Fashionista line. It is an incredible idea on their part to be able to share with the world the beauty of people with Down syndrome, as you can see on the screen. It has been an honor to work on this project and see the reflection of Down syndrome coming to life. The impact is huge for people with Down syndrome, but they're just the part of it. Everyone should be playing with a Barbie with Down syndrome, because kids and adults need to see the world in a different light. We are all diverse, and all Barbies or dolls that we play with should absolutely represent that. This is just the beginning. I am so proud to see the doll on shelves. I was fully included in school, and it has been so meaningful for my peers to also have a doll that reflected me when they played. When I was growing up, I had Barbie dolls, but I'm so thrilled to see a doll that I can now relate to. Even though I don't play with dolls anymore, I feel like this is a huge and amazing for the next generation and for more to come. Nick, want to go back to advocacy, please? Thank you. I really want to share the story of Barbie for just a couple of reasons. First, because I am really proud of it and love getting to share those adorable pictures. But most importantly, is I think it illustrates how advocacy could come in many forms. To me, advocacy means sharing your voice and being able to tell your personal story. Your personal story is what matters the most, because this is what separates you from others. Your story is unique to you. Many years ago, I was just a small girl who had a yes on her voice. And today, I'm a woman who's speaking over to 900 people across the country. You can be in Nick, you want to go ahead and switch slides? I have a challenge for you all. You can be an advocate like me as well. And by attending today's forum, you are getting an incredible opportunity to learn more about the issues that impact the disability community and add your advocacy toolkit. You can speak up for yourself and others in your local communities at the state and federal level. And I hope that my story has shown you that you have what it takes to advocate for yourself and your voice matters. Nick, want to go to the last slide? If you're interested in keeping up with me, and I certainly hope you do, you can follow NDSS on social media, such as Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and even TikTok. I post monthly vlogs on TikTok on a variety of topics that affect people with Down syndrome. And I would love all of you to join in on the fun. Thank you again for giving me this incredible opportunity to speak with all of you today. And thank you, Beth, for inviting me and Nick to take part of this prestigious opportunity. I hope you have questions, because I will now take them from the audience. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Kayla, for that inspiring and powerful talk, sprinkled with your fun sense of humor. To our audience, please submit your questions for Kayla into the Q&A, and we'll get started. I'll actually get things started with just a few questions. So first, Kayla, I really loved your quote on what is advocacy and the importance of sharing your voice and being able to tell your personal story, and that your story is unique to you. I believe that personal stories are the foundational driver of change, and I'll really carry that quote with me. And I think many others in our audience will as well. And so I'd love to start things off by asking you, Kayla, what does empowerment and having a meaningful life mean to you?
It means a lot to me because I have people that are able to help me without a problem, and that I find it meaningful because I have many people that I can share it with, like my colleagues. Yes, Nick, I'm going to put you on the spot again. But as Nick and Anna and everybody else are able to help me through it as well. So I had to give them a huge shout out.
Yeah, right. You always have to thank your team and be appreciative of others. And I really want to thank your team as well, Kayla, for connecting you with me. And I'm so happy that we were able to bring you on to join us all the way from the East Coast, and finally to be introduced virtually face to face. So it's so special to have you with us. My second question is, what is the best part of being an advocate?
The best part of me being an advocate is sharing my story, because I have a different story than Nick and some of our staff advocates who are on our staff, because our story is unique. Like I said before, it's unique, and being able to share that is just my drive and my passion.
Yeah, I think being able to share that with other people, and to really move forward such important issues and topics and being able to create change is so meaningful. I'm seeing a question here from the audience that's very similar to one that I have. But what is the most challenging part about being an advocate, or what is a situation that you've encountered that's been a barrier to pursuing self-advocacy?
So I can't say that the barrier to self-advocacy because there isn't one, but the most challenging part is getting on the calendars with members of Congress, because they're always so busy. So it's always hard to get that time on the calendar with them.
So trying to get just to get a foot in the door can be really challenging.
A little bit, yeah.
Got to really be persistent. And Kayla,
And this is why my mom says I'm very stubborn.
we might say stubborn, but we say persistent.
Thank you.
What is, or actually, let's see here. Do you have any advice for other individuals with Down syndrome or other developmental disabilities who might be interested in advocacy and maybe don't know where to start?
Absolutely. So when you want to start advocating for yourself, start local, start at home. That you can start small and work your way up. So we work on all those different levels, but it's important to stay true to your authentic self and start with what you know the best. Start talking to board members, maybe go to libraries or to those schools, find the right people to start talking to there, and then you can slowly graduate yourself.
Yeah, so kind of like how with writers, they say, write what you know. So maybe with
Absolutely.
self-advocates, it's move forward what you know and start with yourself.
Yes.
I love that. Yeah.
Thank you.
And Kayla, how can parents, clinicians, other professionals that are here at the forum support individuals with Down syndrome and other developmental disabilities on their own journey for self-advocacy?
Absolutely. So when I was in school, I needed help, and not just with a one-on-one. But when I needed help, it's easier to break down those instructions and take it and do it more hands-on. That's how I was able to help myself. That's how I was able to learn from others. So I'm saying to you, break things down, and it's so much easier that way. And of course, try doing it. Don't do it for them, but do it with them. And it's always a work in progress. The more you do it with somebody, they can show you, and then you can do it yourself. People should be doing your work for you and sending your message that you want them to do it. But you are a bright example, and you can show them the path.
Absolutely. I love that reminder to really break things down and to meet each individual where they're at and adequately support them for every step along the way. And like you said, not doing things for people, but to do things with them. Right? So important.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm going to go through some questions here in the chat. Love this one, Kayla. How long does it take to create your inspiration story?
Well, let's just say I'm 36. It started when I was 13, so about 23 years.
A lot of life experience to draw from.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, I love that. And then another question here from the audience is, are the Congress members generally supportive of your messages? Do you ever get pushback? And if so, what do you do?
Sometimes they might push back, but this is where you want to push back, not harder, but you want to give, if they're pushing you back, then you push back. Whereas a back and forth with that. But I never say giving up is in my realm of vocabulary. So if they don't talk to you, you know, keep knocking on those doors, and they'll make sure that you are being heard. And honestly, meeting with a staffer, not the member of Congress, is just as fun too. They can relay that message back to the boss.
Right. Yeah, I think that that's so important and reminds me of a quote to not fight back, but to fight forward.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Another question from our audience is, what is your message to educators who keep segregating students with Down syndrome? And what's your message to general education teachers who have students with Down syndrome in their classrooms, but maybe place them in the back of the class or don't take ownership of them being their student? Any recommendations or things that you'd like to say on that?
Yeah. You don't want to segregate your students, because that's not that I don't think that's how they will learn effectively. So, and don't put people to the back of the room. Don't put them in basements. Because when I was young, I remember being in a basement learning myself, and I wasn't fully mainstreamed. So mainstream your students, making sure they are learning alongside the non-disabled peers, because it's that interaction that you want to have with them and have them make friends. Because we are people. We are human beings just like you. We want to be able to interact with teachers, professors, or anybody in that occupation that is going to treat you sourly. I'm going to say kill them with kindness.
Mhm.
You want to smile and make nice nights.
Yeah, very good advice, I think, for all of us. And I think the message rings true that everybody is important and their voice is important. And it's necessary for us to really support others and to go out of our way to really get and hear the voice of other students and people that we might know and work with. So an audience, go ahead and continue to enter your questions into the Q&A. Kayla, I'm now going to pivot to asking about Special Olympics because it's very special to me and I love hearing about it. First of all, I'm very impressed and thrilled to be speaking with such a decorated athlete. You've competed in so many different sports like bocce, track and field, and the list goes on and on and on. And so I'm curious to know how being an athlete makes you a better advocate and vice versa.
Sure. So being an advocate and being an athlete are pretty much one and the same. This is where you can be a leader. This is where you can showcase your skills alongside your friends and being able to be competitive in a sport. It feels even better, but this is where I made my lifelong friendships. And I still see them. Sometimes we go out to eat or go to the movies. So is there a feel good camaraderie and the comfort of being with people that you want to be with. And yes, this is how I met my boyfriend as well.
I think this connects to Dr. Lord's talk earlier when she was talking about kind of priorities and perspectives of individuals with autism and other disabilities. And at the end of the day, everyone wanted to be loved. They wanted to have friends and a job, housing. The priorities were still the same. And I think that that's so important to highlight to everyone.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah. Now I'm going to ask about Barbie, and representation is incredibly important and must have been such a rewarding project to have been a part of. Kayla, can you tell us a little bit about how that project came about and how some of your inspiration into designing this Barbie? Oh,
and I have Bobby.
Hi, Barbie.
Hello. So Mattel, the creator of Barbie, and NDSS were partners, and they actually reached out to us to help create a doll with Down syndrome. So I have to, like I said earlier, the characteristics. If I stand up, which I will, you see that I stopped growing at 4'11", and so did Bobby because they are the same height. We didn't have a growth spot. So the Bobby is shorter in statue. With Bobby, I helped with some of the facial features, almond-shaped eyes, the flatness of bridge, and yes, small ears, as you can see myself. And then, like Bobby, I also have a crease in my palm, a single deep crease in my palm. I don't know if Bobby has low muscle tone, but I do. And I find mine in my fingertips, more likely. And then yellow and blue and butterflies are just another symbol of Down syndrome. As well as her, if I can get her necklace to go straight, the 3 arrows on her necklace are the chevrons of what makes up Down syndrome.
I love all those special little touches that are so meaningful and tied to the Down syndrome community.
Thank you.
Yeah, I know you've been on different morning shows and on tours to promote the new Barbie. Have there been any experiences that are really special that you want to share with us about sharing the Barbie with others?
I want to say Good Morning America was huge during the big reveal on that. And seeing the little kids with Down syndrome play with a doll that looks like them. Like I said before, representation and diverse is always so important.
Yeah, I think that it's so lovely to be able to offer another Barbie, and especially in just right now with the Barbie movie coming out, and it's so special and very timely.
And I did see the movie and I enjoyed it myself.
Good. All right. I'm just seeing some comments in the Q&A that they also love Barbie dolls and have loved ones who are also part of Special Olympics. So we're in good company.
I hope to meet you.
Yeah. All right. And then in the last few minutes, I think my last question is, what is next for Kayla? Aside from waiting on that ring, what is next for you?
That was just a joke. I always say that. Even though my mom doesn't like it, I still say it. I just want to say, like, advancing my career is huge. Especially working with Nick and Anna and alongside all my colleagues, just being able to share my voice. And I'm hoping that people with Down syndrome have every ability that they can to go forward and spread their own message.
Yeah, and I think, Kayla, you've been such an inspiration to us today, and thank you so much for being here with us and sharing your journey with the Tarjan community. As you said, you are living proof of the extraordinary things that people are capable of, and such a role model for others. So thank you again for being here with us today.
Absolutely, thank you so much. Me and Nick are very honored to be here.
Thank you.
I hope it's okay to speak on behalf of you, Nick.
Of course, so happy to be here. Thank you again.
Of course. Thank you, Nick, for being here as well. All right. To our audience, a reminder that all of our presentations today are being recorded, and we'll have the recordings and presentation slides available on the Tarjan website in a couple weeks. Thank you again to our audience for your patience as we took care of some technical issues with the Spanish interpretation this morning. The Spanish recording will also be available on our website in the coming weeks. So we will now take a lunch break from noon to 1 o'clock Pacific time. And when we return, Dr. Brandon Ito will present on gender and sexual identity in neurodiverse youth. Thank you, everyone, and we'll see you after the lunch break. Thank you, Kayla.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Very honored.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.